Father Robert Spitzer is a spiritual writer. He's a theologian and philosopher. He joins us today to talk about his newest book from Ignatius. It's called Christ versus Satan in Our Daily Lives. Thanks so much, Father Spitzer, for being with us.
Great to be with you.
It's wonderful to see you again after you were in our studios a few years ago doing your Blink series. Major topics that you tackle because of your work in philosophy, and this is certainly a very big one, Christ versus Satan in our daily lives. So you're talking about these cosmic struggles between good and evil, and I know you tackle it in the book based into two major parts. Can you tell us a little bit about that structure in the book?
Right. So my first intention was to show that a spiritual evil, namely Satan, is quite real. And so I talk about it first through the vantage point of Jesus and what he was doing and his mission to defeat Satan. And indeed, he did defeat Satan. And I go through that, the five parts of his plan to defeat Satan. And then I talk about the reality of Satan today, principally giving some testimonies from diaries of exorcisms that have taken place. These are from very reliable sources. The first exorcism was that of Robbie Mannheim, who was the person that 6 Jesuits actually exorcised in St. Louis. They were all academics from St. Louis University there, very sober group of people. And so the diary is very reliable, but very stunning, really, in its manifestation of what poor Robbie went through. And then the second one is from Dr. Richard Gallagher, Julia, who is a former satanic priestess, and Dr. Gallagher, very well known in the New York and Connecticut area. He teaches at New York University. He's a psychiatrist got his credentials from Columbia and Yale, I believe, and he also has been present to many exorcisms. So these are sober, good, very reliable witnesses who wrote these things for the diary. So I just wanted to give a testimony that the devil is real, and he's a powerful adversary, but he's not an overwhelmingly powerful adversary because Christ has defeated him. In the second part, what I really wanted to talk about was the tactics of Satan. And so I first took a look at temptation, and then accusation and deceit, which are his 3 favorite methods. Temptation, obviously, coming right to the imagination, giving us little scenarios in little movies, as it were, of our things that we desire that are within the scope of the deadly sins, which I'll explain in a moment. And then, of course, he's always coming with lies and deceits and rationalizations to help us move along toward the temptation. And then when we fall, his basic tactic is to accuse us and to basically say, well, you little wretch, I told you you were incapable of any kind of reform. And you ought to have a lot of self-loathing and just believe that God doesn't like you anyway. And that's his objective, to push you right over the brink into discouragement and then into despair, which, of course, would separate you from God. So that's we spend a lot of time talking about those tactics. Then in the second part of the book, I talk about the second part of the second part. I talk about the deadly sins. And so I go through the deadly sins as they present themselves in literature. So, for example, pride. I'm looking at Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Certainly for anger, there's no more justified person in being angry than Hamlet, yet it destroys him, it destroys his family, it destroys everyone around him. Of course, for envy, I take Shakespeare's Othello, the character Iago, who is a cad indeed, and even says that his plot to overcome, as it were, to get everything he envies from everyone, his plot is born right out of hell, and it is.
Yeah. He
destroys just about everyone around him in his quest to quench his envy. And then finally, of course, we have to go into Scrooge for greed, and Gordon Gekko from Wall Street. He's great for greed,
Perfect, yeah.
For vanity. Sunset Boulevard, wonderful characters there. And then, of course, for Sloth, I've got Claude Vicey from Room with a View, and Lust would be Anna Karenina. And so we have a host of good literary characters that illustrate these problems, but also how the devil works in getting us to justify it, to kind of hide everything from ourselves until it's too late and the tragic consequences come.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I love all the references to, materials that we read in literature, and certainly evil is, present in our lives, and we hate to recognize it, but we must overcome it with prayer. And the synopsis you just gave us is a great sizzle reel for the book for people to get from Ignatius. And we're here out of time already, but people can get the book from Ignatius.com and other places and follow your work. Where can people follow your work?
At magiscenter.com, that's MAGIS center.com, and crediblecatholic.com. And of course, you can always get books from Amazon.com.
That's right. That's right. Father, it's always a delight to speak with you. I always learn something new when we have the chance to chat. So thanks so much for your time. And now we're going to go back to the rest of This Is the Day.